And it feels great to be back to the greatest morning show in the world. Good morning from wherever you're watching, and thank you for joining us this morning on Breakfast Central as we segue into some of the biggest political stories that have happened over the course of the weekend. It's been quite the busy weekend with a lot of attempted coups happening, but we'll be exploring the conversations in depth. My name is Olive Emodi, and it's good to be back.
And I'm Gbenga, bro, and I'd like to say a big welcome back to you, Olive. We really miss you on the program. You know, you're a resident lawyer. We couldn't get really in-depth on-the-spot analysis in terms of in legal issues, so we had to pack all the legal issues aside.
And they're waiting for me.
They're waiting for you exactly this week.
Thank you very much for that.
And we got lots of requests from our viewers and listeners that said they missed looking at you, watching you read the news, that they love it when you read the news. So throughout this week, I hope you're prepared to read the news.
No, I'm not reading the news.
It was Moko and Chukwuemeka that wrote that one.
Yes, I saw a message from him. Thank you so much for the kind wishes. I got a number of messages from our viewers on Instagram and on Twitter, on X as well, telling me to enjoy the holiday, but they missed me. Thank you so much. I missed you, and I'm really, really glad to be back.
Look well rested, you know. Yeah, but before we go on, please let Johansson do the honors. It's looking very presidential this morning. Look at the double-breasted.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, I did not de-escalate.
You're looking very suitable. That's why you wear a suit.
Thank you, Gbenga. I mean, that's. I mean,
I would think that time we would come back and you would have applied some decorum.
Yeah.
And stop all this shenanigans on national TV.
It feels good to be back. Good morning, Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt. Good morning to Pretoria, to Johannesburg.
Cotonou.
I was going there. I was just trying to comb around some of the African, states, and then Cotonou, Benin Republic, Port Novo, not far off, all of them. It was indeed a very troublesome weekend, if you put it that way, because nobody would have thought that you would hear of a coup plot over the weekend in a state or a country that's seemingly doing fine.
Yeah, relatively stable.
Relatively, it's stable, and then it happens. But then again, this conversation we're going to have. So we're saying good morning. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to go on social media. You could drop a comment or two. Let us know what you think about some of the biggest stories we're bringing forth, especially here on Breakfast Central for the next 3 hours or thereabout. Je m'appelle Johansson. Let's do a little bit of French as we start off wake-up conversations this morning.
You can never stop there, my dear friend. Je m'appelle is not enough. You have to go forward.
Oh, I should go forward.
Yeah.
Recently, I've learned that I don't need to speak French much because of our viewership. You know, we have dominant English listening and speaking people.
We're part of the economic community of West African states.
Yes.
And our key languages, there's 3 languages. There's English, there's French, and there's Portugal.
Excusez-moi. We just need to move on with the story. Pardon. Let's go ahead. So we're going to start off first. Gbenga, by the way, you look good on green. Not bad, man.
Olive green. Yeah, I'm wearing it because of Olive. I knew she would be back today, and it's her favorite color.
Wow. You're my favorite man in the world.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
I like that.
Let's begin with some unfortunate news. On Sunday, the 7th of December 2025, soldiers in Benin, operating under the banner of the Military Committee for Refoundation, led by Lieutenant Colonel Pascal Tigiri, briefly seized the state television station and announced that they had toppled the government. They had toppled President Patrice Talon and dissolved his government. Their claim was swiftly countered when President Talon appeared on national TV assuring the country that the mutiny had failed and praising Loyalist forces for standing firm, for reclaiming control and clearing the last pockets of resistance. Benin's Interior Minister Alassane Seydu reinforced this in a public statement, explaining that only a small group of soldiers had attempted the mutiny and that the armed forces remained fully committed to the Republic. He confirmed that the situation was under control and urged citizens to continue with their normal activities. Now.
Yeah, and if you recall, just 10 days ago in Guinea-Bissau, President Umar Sissoko Embalo was removed in a successful coup in 2025 by the High Military Commander of the Restoration National Security and Public Order, led by Brigadier General Nis Enacha and General Hota Enta Anaman. Niger's President Mohamed Bazoum was overthrown in 2023 by Presidential Guard led by Abdurrahman Chiani in a successful coup. Recall Gabon's Ali Bongo Dimba was also ousted in 2023 by military officers under Brice Niger and Burkina Faso experienced 2 coups in 2023. First, President Rochmark Christian Kabore was removed by Paul Henry Sandaogo Damiba, and later Damiba himself was overthrown by Colonel Ibrahim Traore, Captain Ibrahim Traore.
Who was meant to transition to civilian rule, but now he's been given the reins
indefinite
to stay
suspension
for I think about 5 years or thereabouts. What? Mali, they're not the only ones.
Yes, Mali also saw 2 coups, the first in 2020 and second in 2021, both led by Assimi Goïta, successfully removing the transitional government. What this says is we're almost going back to a throwback of the 1980s when West Africa used to be known as the Coup Belt of Africa. But in a swift intervention yesterday, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, did deploy fighter jets, scrambled fighter jets from Lagos, and they also activated the ECOWAS standby force. So troops from Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone will be headed to, if they're not there already, to Republic of Benin to stabilize this. But let's look at this press statement from ECOWAS, and then we'll be back to hear what Nigerians are saying and more analysis from us here.
Right.
Béninois, chers compatriotes, au petit matin de ce dimanche 7 décembre 2025, un groupuscule de soldats a engagé une mutinerie dans le but de déstabiliser l'État et ses institutions. Face à cette situation, les forces armées béninoises et leur hiérarchie.
The ECOWAS press statement on the Republic of Benin says ECOWAS Commission has received with consternation reports of an attempted military takeover in the Republic of Benin. ECOWAS strongly condemns this unconstitutional move that represents a subversion of the will of the people of Benin. ECOWAS calls for the full respect of the Constitution of Benin and salutes the efforts of the government and the Republican Army in bringing the situation under control. ECOWAS holds the leaders of the plot, both individually and collectively, responsible for any loss to life and property occasioned by their action. ECOWAS will support the government and the people in all forms necessary, including the deployment of the regional standby force to defend the constitution and territorial integrity of Benin. This was signed on the 7th of December 2025 in Abuja by the ECOWAS Commission. We also saw that there are more, statements there, but we've also seen the Nigerian president who has also released.
This was the statement on the deployment of the standby force.
And he did say, he says, further to his earlier statement on the Republic of Benin, the ECOWAS Commission hereby informs the general public that pursuant to the provisions of relevant ECOWAS instruments, in particular Article 25, subsection E of the 1999 Protocol relating to the mechanism for conflicts prevention management, resolution, peacekeeping and security, and after consultation among members of the Mediation and Security Council at the level of heads of state and government, A, the chair of ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government has ordered the deployment of elements of the ECOWAS standby force to the Republic of Benin with immediate effect. B, the regional force shall be made up of troops from the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Republic of Sierra Leone, Republic of Côte d'Ivoire, and Republic of Ghana. C, the force shall support the government and the Republican Army of Benin to preserve constitutional order and the territorial integrity of the Republic of Benin. Signed on the 7th of December 2025 in Abuja at the ECOWAS Commission.
I like the swiftness in which the ECOWAS indeed moved in to ensure that stability was restored in Benin Republic. However, many have said, why were the soldiers looking to carry out a mutiny or a coup? Some of the results have been as a fact of the MPs in Benin Republic have decided to extend their, presidential term limits, also their term limits as well, from 5 to 7 years. And then don't forget too that you also have a serious issue in the north, right there in Benin Republic, where they are equally struggling with insecurity. Looking at the fact that the likes of Mali and other countries within this same geographical area have one way or the other battled with these insurgents, and it's like they're pushing them towards the sides of Benin Republic, and the soldiers feel that nothing is being done. But it's far from just being agitated and trying to take powers into their hands, and that's exactly what we've seen. There's so many issues. There's also the issue of the King of Cotton, of course, which is the president himself, not responding very swiftly to some of the critical issues that they've raised as soldiers. And then, finally, we should also take note, just like you've mentioned, not too long ago, just a few weeks ago, Guinea-Bissau engaging in a coup. So, Gbenga is likely starting to look
like what is good for the goose is no longer good for the gander.
Exactly. It's starting to
Why
look
the
like
double standard?
the West African countries are tinkering with the idea of possibly going back to military rule, which the African Union and ECOWAS has condemned completely.
I mean, for me, it's a double standards. And if ECOWAS has a constitution and protocol that countries should be governed democratically, then why are some allowed to be governed by military men and some others not? Why do we see intervention in some countries and why don't we see in others? Look at Benin Republic, for example. Is it because they're a small country or France's almost last bastion in Africa? Because yesterday, President Macron did communicate with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu before the jets were scrambled. So many people have assumed that, you know, he was taking, that's the tweet from the French president, that he was taking instruction from President Macron. They're also highlighting the fact that, oh, we have this jet to deploy and to scramble to go to Benin Republic when we have problems of our own.
Because that conversation is what we're going to enter in second base.
Well, we've done
first
so
base
it's one of those.
But just to mention,
issues.
I wouldn't say for sure that the ECOWAS is allowing democratic rule in some parts of the region and then allowing military rule in some parts of the region. Maybe what has happened or what is happening with Benin is a prevention of things deteriorating into what it has become in other countries.
To be fair, the Beninese did request for help from Nigeria's government. If you see Bayo Onanuga's statement, it was there that they did reach out to Abuja and ask for help in, you know, preventing this mutiny from happening. So Nigeria, as, you know, big brother giant of Africa, we responded and provided that help.
And we must also ask, I want to go back to something you said earlier, beyond the coups that are happening or the attempted coups, what is the underlying cause of all this happening? If not, we're going to see a repeat of these happening in different parts of the region. If you don't deal with the issues. If we don't deal with the root cause, you know, what we're doing is we're treating the symptoms as opposed to dealing with the root cause. There is a number of the countries, when we see the coups happen, part of the things you would hear would be the issues about corruption, insecurity, jihadist movements that they are trying to fight against. So you would see that there are already underlying issues that need to be dealt with. And if these issues are not dealt with, we'll continue to see a repetition of those symptoms. Unfortunately, there might be more attempted coups. The success of it we cannot guarantee.
And also the stifling of democratic spaces. And people have also mentioned that where is ECOWAS? Where is the African Union peer review mechanism when these democratic, so-called democratic countries and plan civilian coups by extended term limits?
This particular person, you know, Talon also has been accused of breaching a lot of democratic values.
Yes.
His term is supposed to end in 2026. His 10-year term should be ending in 2026, right? But we've seen even in the election that the main opposition has been kicked out of the race.
Or
and
they are arrested. The shrinking of the
so it does have enough
democratic space, exactly. There's also Togo there. I mean, if you look at Togo, the Nasingbe family has been in office for almost half a century. That's 50 years if you combine the rule of his father and the son. You look at
so what is
Laurent Gbagbo, you look at Alassane Ouattara in Ivory Coast. It's almost the same. He's in his 80s. And
Equatorial Guinea as well.
The list is endless.
Cameroon.
But they never say anything about this
recently.
democratic coup. So they give reasons for the military boys.
It's a good conversation to get into, because the truth is, what is the African Union doing towards that and about that? What is the AU also, I mean, ECOWAS also doing about that? But let's see what Nigerians are saying in reaction to the aborted coup that was to take place, or that tried to take place, especially in Benin yesterday. Cillian, I really can't get that. Sele Online Business says, that's welcome development. If that would be better for the country, it's like military rule would be the solution to every country now. Well, we don't agree to that.
Yeah, I disagree with you vehemently.
It's not really. But anyway, you have your opinion. Kihato Eric says, coups in Africa undermine democracy, destabilize economies, and weaken regional security. Yes, They may appear as quick fixes to political crisis. Their long-term consequences are overwhelmingly negative, and you are right with that. Meltdown says Benin school feels less like saving the country and more like politicians and soldiers arguing over who gets to loot next. One side cries corruption, the other claims patriotism. I'm just curious if the masses support this or it's just abuse of power.
Doesn't seem like the masses supported this one.
I don't think so. Deep insights. African leaders invented their own brand of democracy where power doesn't really belong to the people, but a select few. We'll continue to have these coups until that changes. Nigeria should not think it's isolated. Well, talking of Nigeria, just a few months down the line, we did hear of a coup that was to take place, and it was indeed one way or the other truncated. Let's see another one. Delta Wire. This trend will keep recurring amongst African states unless there's a massive intentional revolution that compels our leaders to start governing with fairness and equity. Until they start utilizing resources of the state for the welfare of the people, Africans will keep rising every day in whatever form, shape, or nomenclature. Until the people start seeing the dividends of democracy, they will keep rebellious. He says African leaders are the problem and they evolved from amongst us. We're all culpable on this one. Well, that's what Delta Wire says. And that's all the tweets we're going to take. We're going to have this conversation in depth, let's put it that way, during the 7 o'clock hour, so make sure you stay with us. But away from that story, let's go to something that you call rather good news. The federal government has successfully secured the release of 100 school children who were recently abducted in Niger State, although several pupils are still unaccounted for. Authorities confirmed that security agencies acted swiftly following the kidnapping, coordinating efforts to locate and safely recover the students. While the rescue operation has brought relief to the affected communities and families, officials continue to search for those still missing, emphasizing their commitment to ensuring the safety and protection of all children in the region. The president did talk about this. He put out a tweet on X. That's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He was quite active over the weekend, by the way. Talked about the Benin coup. Also put out a tweet on this.
And we like it, just to mention that we're not complaining. We like that very much.
That's how we like the communication.
Yeah.
But it's not yet to Huru, since there's still a number of those children in the bush. And imagine the parents, what they'll be going through, the trauma. So we shouldn't rest on our oars until every Nigerian that has been kidnapped, especially the kids, return safely. And we also prevent this so it doesn't become a reoccurring, it's almost like a cat and mouse game. Okay, you kidnap kids this week, you release them. Next week, another location. We need to put an end to this. And that's why I support the Senate. Olive was away when the Senate deliberated on the proposed death sentence for kidnapping, banditry.
Which is why, I mean, before I went away, I'd always talked about what role do the lawmakers have in wielding legislative instruments to ensure that they deal with some of the key issues we have. The major issue we have right now as a country is insecurity. Everybody wants to feel secure. And the issue and the problem with insecurity is that it has a ripple effect. When there is insecurity, it affects tourism, it affects FDI.
Absolutely.
It affects people coming to do business. It's December, and interestingly, yesterday we were having conversations with people outside Nigeria that were calling and asking, oh, what's the best way to travel? Should I go by road? Should I do this? And that's the kind of conversations we're having, because insecurity has become a major, a major stumbling block.
Olive, while you were away, the National Assembly really stepped up, this 10th Assembly. So maybe you should be traveling a lot. You should have seen the way they grilled CG Musa. They were very hands-on.
And then they're getting ready to grill the ambassadorial list.
Yes. So we're very happy. I mean, this is, and you know what gives me joy? I've been speaking about this and advocating for this. First of all, I've never been a fan of the bow and go that we see happening.
A senator tried it and said, why are we wasting too much time?
Yes, and then they attacked him. Exactly. So I've never been a fan of bow and go. And there's one thing that I'm waiting to see. I find that when ministers, members of cabinet, nominees to be in the cabinet already know the portfolio they're going to function in, and the Senate already knows the portfolio that they're nominating them to function in, it helps them have tailored questions. It's why if CG Musa is coming, you already know that he's coming as Minister of Defense. You see,
and he said a lot.
Right? As opposed to bring in, you now go and bring Mayor Coup and say, oh, so if you become a Minister of Women Affairs, what are you going to do? We're not sure exactly what
of the portfolio.
So
and they also need to attach their designation, the assignments for the ambassadors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's see what Nigerians are saying regarding the rescue of the 100 girls in Niger State. Now on X, we see secured. Looks like they are negotiating for the release in batches. How else can one explain this? Nwachukwu said.
Or explain the round figure.
Right, 100 on the dot. That's fantastic news. Relieved to hear the kids are safe and back with their families. Kudos to the federal government and everyone involved in making this happen. Uncle Enzo Ibrahim Nupe says. The next tweet. I'm glad they've regained their freedom and I hope they're all in good health. The trauma may stay with them for a long time, but I truly wish them healing and strength. But can the federal government be honest and transparent enough to let us know how they were able to secure their release? And I mean, that's a good point being raised there about what post-traumatic stress measures we have. Rescuing them is one, but the trauma really lives with them.
And also, did you pay a ransom? What happened?
What happened? Like, what's the full picture? But I don't think that the government will ever come out to say.
But we need it. We need to know. And it's also an opportunity. Joe and I spoke about this. There's an opportunity to project strength of the Nigerian state.
Absolutely.
That, you know, we sent X and Y troops, they engaged, they did this and that. Because that's what you see the Americans do. But here, they just tell us to be happy that the kids have been secured. So let's move on with life.
And we are happy.
But if we don't deal with the root cause, it will be a recurring thing, and we'll be back to speak about the next batch of kids.
We don't have to. Okay, let's now move to our next story. The long-running feud between Senator Akpabio and Senator Natasha has reignited after Senator Godswill Akpabio filed a 200 billion naira defamation lawsuit, despite earlier public apologies from both sides following the backlash. Many had assumed the controversy had finally been laid to rest, but Senator Natasha has insisted that she will prove her sexual assault allegation in court, signaling that the matter is far from over. What was thought to be a sleeping dispute has now returned to the spotlight, with the legal battle set to test the claims and defenses of both lawmakers.
I thought we were over this. I thought we'd moved on.
So
we're not done yet.
So why we cannot move on is because the allegation of sexual abuse is a very weighty allegation that should be proven in court. And I say that we should not let this matter rest.
Don't let sleeping dogs lie.
Let sleeping dogs not lie. This matter should be, and I've always said this, it should be investigated to the very end, such that if whoever is found guilty, and there can only be one person guilty, would either find that Senator Godswill Akpabio was actually guilty of this and will be made to face his time in court, or that Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, defamed him and is guilty and will be made to face her time in court. Either way, it's not a matter that should be swept under the carpet. Because what we're saying, if we sweep it under the carpet, is that we do not attach a lot of importance to allegations of sexual assault in a country where we're already complaining about, the average, regular, everyday person complains about sexual assault and they don't feel like they get the support that they need. How come someone at that level, highest level, at that high level, cannot yet also get some form of justice? So we need justice. Justice for Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan or justice for Senator Godswill Akpabio, depending on what the court finds. But let's see what Nigerians are saying about this on X. On X, we see here, perfect. Women won't just manipulate things and get away with it. Before you come for me, Natasha said she had evidence, so this is the right time to table them in court. Let her bring out her evidence, and if justice is tampered with, Nigerians will bring Akpabio to mud. I am ready to join the protest. But any woman cannot just get up to manipulate the public on rape and abuse-related cases, then get away with it. Let's be clear, please. There was no matter.
Hold on, no, just read.
Rape was not mentioned here, but let's be very clear. Rape and abuse-related cases, then get away with it if it's not true. On the other, one other lady did it with one of the Peace Square, and it was not valid. A lot of men are in prison for false accusations. I hate it. If this case was fabricated and Akpabio was brought down, do you know what it means? Akpabio is just a very tough man. Any other senator would have by now been down for this. If those claims were false, Natasha is evil. Feminists can come for me. I care very little about you. Oh, rubbish. Can we please move to the next tweet? I thought Senator Akpabio is still trying to get his health back. Why is he trying to worsen it with his court case? Who is advising him not to let the sleeping dog lay? Okay, let's move to the next one. Reporting to Donald Trump. Nigerians, why are you like this?
I mean, he has good reasons because he's always referencing Donald Trump. Last week he said Donald Trump was on their neck.
He said Donald Trump is on their neck.
And the first time he said, who am I to respond to Donald Trump? So it's a very valid tweet.
But on a very serious note, I like the fact that we've played it out. Whoever is guilty should be made to face the law. If Senator Natasha is guilty based on everything being under false pretense or falsehood, I'm sure she would face the law. And same goes for the Senate President. So let's not try to maybe say, oh, because one person is the Senate, let's not take sides. I like where it's going to. Yeah. It's going to the courts now. Senator Natasha did put out a tweet as well. In her tweet, she was excited. She was sounding very, very happy in her tweet. She was like, yes, that finally. And she also mentioned that, let's not forget that it's the wife of the Senate President that had also said she was going to take her to court for having accused her husband. So it's much more like we're going to see a lot
so romantic.
Yes, we're going to see a lot of court cases because you cannot in any way accuse my husband of guys, calm down. You cannot accuse my husband of this and at the same time we'll let it go. That's one. I also agree with the first tweet. You have cases where some men are just accused of carrying out sexual in quotes and then they are being locked up in prison for years. We've seen cases. I stumbled on one yesterday, popular celebrity Jason Derulo. Twice.
False accusations.
False accusations. Twice. He lost billions of money. And she did the first one. The court struck it out and said no. She went to another state and did it again. When she went to the court, he had to fly to the other state again. And the same court, another court rather, struck it out. But at the end of the day, he lost money, lost everything. We also remember a Manchester City footballer, their left wing back.
Yes, this black.
His career is done now. He's done.
Yeah.
It's no money.
But he got a deal in France, but it can't make up for everything.
It can't make up. In short, he said his life is he can't get what he lost back. So for those who are concerned, your concerns are valid, 100%. It is good to clarify these things, and I'm up for it. That listen, it should be clarified. If at the end of the day it's not clarified and it's found out to be false, then I'm sorry, Senator Natasha, you have to face it. However, if it's clarified and it is true, I'm sorry, Honorable Senator, President of the Senate, you too have to face it. So I like the fact that it's in the court. I think it's a good place to be. Let's just hope that the judiciary will do the needful and follow due diligence. That's just what I think.
But there are concerns about the institution, the Nigerian Senate.
Oh, well.
An institution that, why do you have senators washing their dirty linen in public there, and their alternative dispute mechanisms that you could use to deal with this?
The problem is that the Red Chamber has oftentimes been plagued with some very terrible reputation. This is not the first time that we've had, well, on this scale.
Remarks and
exactly.
Like
He's in the same Senate that a senator slapped somebody.
I said this is not a nice club.
This is not a nice club. It's the same Senate that a sitting senator, slapped somebody in a sex toy shop and recently has another case against him. You know, so it's a really, it's not a good look, and we hope that there's investigation.
All eyes on the judiciary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Judiciary.
Yes,
but before we wrap up, you know I would always come from my YouTube family. We're streaming live on News Central's page on YouTube. Please go there and engage with us, and I would like to go there to take comments from time to time. I can see Annie Chinedu Brown. Welcome back, Olive, always radiating like sunshine. Thank you so much.
Like a radiator.
Thank you, Mokuye Chukwuemeka, for the kind wishes and the welcome back. Annie Chinedu Brown says, attempted coup in Benin and the citizens were jubilant. Concomitant of corruption interwoven in flawed autocracy masquerading as democracy in West Africa.
I'm sure that's not Honorable
Obayago. It's a lot of English. He said, between Nigeria and Togo, which country will win? Mokuye Chukwuemeka also says, and President saying they had already activated the military to go into Benin is absurd. The man just wants war by all means, making irrational decisions.
Yes, we forgot one of the biggest stories that happened over the weekend. They woke up draws and President Donald Trump giving himself, Gianni Infantino manufacturing a peace prize out of the air and giving Donald Trump out of a long short list of one.
We need to go now. Let's head to breakfast.
Nigeria's not going to be welcome.
But the NFF president.
Time for headlines. Top stories this morning. Senator Ali Ndume urges President Tinubu to withdraw ambassadorial nominees list. Still looking at our stories this morning. Loyalist troops foil coup attempt in Benin Republic. And looking at politics within Nigeria, PDP condemns defection of Rivers State lawmakers, vows legal action. It's not yet over in Rivers State. And the Vice President Shitima unveils 1 billion naira family business grant. We'll be bringing the newspaper front pages to you this morning. Join us for all these and more on Breakfast Central.
What's the name of it?